Pangea, not the first, not the last. Before we delve into the grand drama of Pangea's birth, it is crucial to take a step back and look at a much broader picture. The most astounding fact we can learn about this ancient supercontinent is that it was neither unique nor singular. Pangaea is but one episode, albeit the most famous one, in our planet's endless cycle, its eternal breath. Our Earth lives by a rhythm imperceptible to human perception of time, a rhythm whose primary pulse is the birth and death of gigantic land masses. Over billions of years, the continents, like participants in a giant slow-motion dance, have continuously converged to form a single monolith, only to later shatter into fragments, destined to meet again hundreds of millions of years later. This supercontinent cycle is a fundamental property of plate tectonics, and Pangaea, which existed about 300 million years ago, was far from the first in this sequence. Long before it, roughly a billion years ago, Rodinia rose from the waters of the Proterozoic Ocean, a hypothetical continent whose outlines modern scientists are painstakingly reconstructing from scattered geological clues. And even earlier, in the misty depths of antiquity, lay Columbia, Nuna, whose traces are even more ghostly. This is where we encounter one of the most intriguing aspects of paleogeography. We are dealing with facts, but these facts are shrouded in an aura of mystery and interpretation. Scientists bestow majestic names upon these ancient worlds, Rodinia, Columbia, Pangaea, yet their precise shapes and sizes remain subjects of intense scientific debate. Modern reconstructions, those stunning maps that capture our imagination, are not photographs from the past. They are complex computer models, artistic interpretations based on fragmented evidence. The matching of mountain belts, paleomagnetic data, and the similarity of geological formations on now separated continents. It is a giant jigsaw puzzle where more than half the pieces have been lost to time, forcing scientists to deduce not only their placement, but the very picture they once formed. A bold yet unproven hypothesis exists that links this great cycle to life itself. Some geologists and evolutionary biologists suggest that the periodicity of roughly 600 million years with which supercontinents form could have been a powerful driver of evolution. The breakup of Rodinia, for instance, created countless isolated coastlines and shallow seas, ideal pottery workshops for nature's experiments. It is perhaps no coincidence that following its fragmentation came the Cambrian explosion, a moment in Earth's history when life literally exploded in diversity, creating, within a geologically short period, the ancestors of all modern animal phyla. Thus, the very dynamics of our planet, its heartbeat in the rhythm of supercontinents, may have set the pace and direction for the development of all life, setting the stage for the future rulers of Pangaea, the dinosaurs and mammals. And it was onto this prepared stage that the next most famous hero was about to emerge, Pangaea, a scenario of geological drama. Having set the stage in the deep past, we now arrive at the main event, the monumental convergence that forged Pangea. This was not a sudden cataclysm, but a slow, inexorable, and utterly relentless process. A geological ballet performed over tens of millions of years. The protagonists of this drama were two colossal landmasses, Gondwana, the southern behemoth, uniting what would become South America, Africa, Antarctica, Australia, and India, and Laurasia, its northern counterpart, comprising future North America, Europe, and parts of Asia. Around 335 million years ago, during the Carboniferous period, these two continental titans began their fateful approach. The mechanism was the same that drives plate tectonics today, the colossal heat engine of Earth's interior, with convection currents in the mantle acting as a slow but unstoppable conveyor belt. Gondwana and Laurasia were drawn together in a slow-motion dance of unimaginable force, a waltz where the slightest step spanned millennia, and the slightest touch crumpled the very crust of the planet. The climax of this dance was a head-on collision of a scale virtually foreign to our modern world. Imagine the force required to halt the drift of entire continents. That energy had to go somewhere, and it was dissipated in the most dramatic way possible. By thrusting the Earth's crust skyward, the margins of these colliding landmasses were crushed, folded, and fractured, giving birth to vast, towering mountain ranges that rivaled or even surpassed the modern Himalayas in scale. These ancient chains are the silent, weathered witnesses to Pangea's formation, and we can still trace their roots today. The most compelling and tangible evidence lies in the Ural Mountains of Russia. This long, rugged range is not a random feature. It is the ancient suture zone, the geological scar that marks where the smaller Siberian continent, part of Laurasia, slammed into the combined landmass of Europe. Similarly, the worn-down spine of the Appalachian Mountains in the eastern United States tells a parallel tale. Their formation is a direct result of the relentless push of Gondwana against the shores of ancient North America. These mountains are the enduring proof of Pangea, the very bones of the supercontinent laid bare for us to see, standing as a testament to forces that can move worlds. This entire process was a series of these colossal, slow-motion impacts, a cascade of continental fragments accreting to the growing supercontinent. Some hypotheses suggest the collision may not have been a single clean event, but a more complex series of micro-collisions as smaller continental blocks, themselves remnants of earlier cycles, merged first, acting as a unified front in the final push with Gondwana. This protracted and complex genesis helps explain the intricate and varied geology found along these ancient mountain belts. The formation of Pangea was, therefore, the ultimate expression of plate tectonics, a process of assembly that created not just a unified landmass, but a world utterly transformed by the very forces that gave it shape. The world of Pangea, a monstrous continent and its climate. With the titanic geological forces of collision finally spent, the Earth beheld its new face, a single, unbroken landmass of staggering proportions. Pangea, The all-Earth was now complete, stretching from pole to pole in a vast C-shaped embrace. But this newborn world was not a hospitable one. The very fact of its unity forged a set of environmental conditions so extreme that they would have been utterly alien to a modern observer. Pangaea was a continent of dramatic contrasts, a place where its own immense size became the source of its most brutal character. The most defining feature of this new world was its profound, continent-wide aridity. With the vast majority of the planet's landmass consolidated into one entity, the interior regions found themselves thousands of kilometers from the moderating influence of any ocean. The result was the creation of a mega-monsoonal climate, but one where the seasonal winds often failed to deliver life-giving rain to the heart of the supercontinent. Here, in the sprawling interior, lay one of the most extensive and severe deserts in Earth's history. Temperatures would have swung violently between scorching days and freezing nights, while vast dune fields and salt pans stretched to the horizon, a stark, sun-bleached landscape largely devoid of life. This incredible dryness was exacerbated by the very mountains that had forged the continent. The newly risen Central Pangaean Mountains, the combined spine of the Appalachians and their North African counterparts, acted as a formidable barrier. They wrenched moisture from the air moving inland, casting a vast rain shadow over the continental interior and condemning it to extreme desiccation. Yet, this was not a uniformly barren world. Pangaea was a planet of stark extremes. While the center was a baking desert, the equatorial regions, particularly those along the coast of the shallow Tethys Sea that separated the two arms of the sea, were lush and humid. It was in these tropical wetlands that vast steaming rainforests thrived. Towering scale trees and giant horsetails formed dense, swampy jungles, the air thick with moisture and the buzz of ancient insects. These carboniferous forests are crucial to our understanding of Pangaea, for their legacy is written in stone. The immense coal deposits found today in both Europe and North America are a direct result of these unified equatorial forests. The identical composition of coal seams in Pennsylvania, USA, and in Poland or Great Britain is irrefutable proof that these now distant lands were once part of the same tropical wetland, sitting side by side on the supercontinent. Surrounding this colossal land was the Panthalassa Ocean, a global sea of such immensity that it makes the modern Pacific seem like a lake. Its currents, unimpeded by significant land masses, would have circulated in planet-spanning gyres, creating marine environments and climate systems with no modern parallel. Life on Pangaea was thus a story of connectivity and isolation. For terrestrial animals, the unified land offered a highway for migration. This is why the fossils of identical species, like the hardy herbivorous reptile Lystrosaurus, are found from South Africa to India to Antarctica. They did not cross oceans, they simply walked across a world without barriers. Pangaea, in its completion, was a land of opportunity and hardship, a unified biological province whose very structure would soon set the stage for one of the most catastrophic events in the history of life. Witnesses and evidence. How we discovered Pangaea. The existence of Pangaea, a world so alien to our own, might have remained a mere philosophical speculation were it not for the diligent work of scientists who learned to read the clues hidden in the very fabric of the continents. The story of its discovery is a scientific detective story of the highest order, one that began not with complex technology, but with a simple, observant look at a world map. The initial and most visually compelling piece of evidence is the remarkable jigsaw fit of the continental coastlines. It was this observation that struck German meteorologist and geophysicist Alfred Wegener most forcefully in the early 20th century. He noted that the eastern bulge of South America seemed perfectly designed to slot into the western indent of Africa, and that North America and Europe could be similarly folded together. This was no coincidence, he argued. In his groundbreaking 1915 work, The Origin of Continents and Oceans, Wegener proposed that all continents were once joined in a single supercontinent, which he named Pangaea. However, a compelling hypothesis requires more than just a suggestive shape. It demands hard evidence. Wegener, a polymath, gathered this from a surprising array of scientific fields. He became a geological detective, tracing clues across the globe. He demonstrated that identical fossil species of plants and land animals were distributed in bands that crossed the now separated continents. The most famous of these was Lystrosaurus, a small herbivorous reptile whose fossils have been found in astonishing abundance in South Africa, India, and, most tellingly, in the frozen wilderness of Antarctica. This creature, a poor swimmer, could never have crossed the frigid, storm-racked Southern Ocean. Its presence on these three land masses was irrefutable proof that they were once connected by dry land. Similarly, the fossilized remains of the freshwater reptile Mesosaurus were found only in eastern South America and southern Africa, locked in the same geological strata. Furthermore, Wegener pointed to the geological stitching that held the continents together. He identified matching mountain belts and rock formations. The ancient Appalachian mountain belt of North America, for instance, lines up perfectly with the Caledonian Mountains of Scotland and Scandinavia when the continents are reassembled. The most damning evidence for the unified nature of Pangaea came from coal deposits. The extensive coal fields of Pennsylvania and the eastern United States are geologically identical to those found in Poland, Great Britain, and Germany. This proved that these now distant regions were once part of a single, massive tropical swamp forest that stretched across the equator of Pangaea during the Carboniferous period. Despite this mountain of interdisciplinary evidence, Wegener's theory was met with fierce ridicule and rejection by the geological establishment of his time. The central weakness was his proposed mechanism for continental movement. He suggested that continents plowed through the oceanic crust like icebreakers through sea ice, an idea for which the physics seemed implausible. Lacking a convincing engine for this continental drift, the entire theory was dismissed as fanciful. It was a classic case of a scientist being right for the wrong reasons, or more accurately, without all the pieces of the puzzle. Wegener had masterfully identified the what, but the how remained a mystery. And for decades, his vision of a mobile Earth was relegated to the fringes of science, a brilliant idea ahead of its time. The legacy of Pangaea traces in our world. The story of Pangaea does not end with its fragmentation. While the supercontinent itself is long gone, its ghost persists, etched into the very fabric of our modern world. Its legacy is not a mere geological curiosity. It is a living, breathing influence on everything from the location of our natural resources to the distribution of life itself. The evidence for this ancient union is not locked away in museums, but is visible in our landscapes and encoded in the biology of continents now separated by vast oceans. The most profound and economically significant legacy lies beneath our feet. The vast coal deposits that powered the Industrial Revolution in Europe and North America are a direct inheritance from Pangaea. These identical coal seams, found from Pennsylvania to Poland, were formed from the gigantic tropical rainforests that thrived in the humid equatorial belt of the supercontinent during the Carboniferous period. When Pangaea broke apart, these once contiguous swampy forests were torn asunder, their organic remains fossilizing into coal on opposite sides of the newly formed Atlantic Ocean. This means that the energy that fueled the modern world owes its origin to a single, unified ecosystem that existed over 300 million years ago. Furthermore, the biological legacy of Pangaea is the story of life's shared ancestry and subsequent divorce. The unification of all major land masses created a superhighway for terrestrial species. This explains why the fossils of non-marine animals like Lystrosaurus are found across continents that are now widely separated. However, the true evolutionary explosion occurred after the breakup. As the continents drifted apart, they became isolated evolutionary laboratories. Populations of the same ancestral species, now separated by impassable oceanic barriers, began to evolve independently, adapting to their new, unique environments. This process, known as allopatric speciation, is the reason we have such distinct wildlife on different continents today. The marsupials of Australia, the lemurs of Madagascar, and the placental mammals of Africa and Asia all trace their divergence to the great continental schism that began with Pangaea's dissolution. The supercontinent's breakup was not just a geological event. It was the catalyst for one of the most significant chapters in the history of life. This grand narrative of unification and separation is not a closed book. The processes that forged and then broke Pangaea continue unabated today. The most powerful modern example is the East African Rift Valley, a massive crack in the Earth's crust that is actively pulling the African continent apart. This tectonic rupture is a live demonstration of the same forces that began to fragment Pangaea nearly 200 million years ago. It is a nascent ocean, a glimpse into the very birth of a new seafloor, proving that the planet's dynamic interior continues to reshape its surface. Similarly, the relentless northward drift of Australia and the ongoing widening of the Atlantic Ocean are the latest frames in this slow-motion geological film that started with Pangaea's formation. The supercontinent story, therefore, is far from over. We are living in the latest chapter of its enduring legacy. Conclusion: the eternal dance of the continents. The story of Pangaea is far more than a historical account of a long-vanished world. It is a profound lesson in the dynamic nature of our planet. The formation and subsequent breakup of this supercontinent reveal a fundamental truth. The Earth is a living, breathing entity in a constant state of flux. The solid ground beneath our feet, which we perceive as the very emblem of permanence, is in fact transient, a fleeting snapshot in a multi-billion-year epic of motion and transformation. The cycle of unification and fragmentation is not a unique event, but the fundamental pulse of the planet, a rhythm dictated by the relentless engine of plate tectonics deep within the Earth's mantle. This grand perspective allows us to look both backward and forward with astonishing clarity. We now understand that the world we inhabit, with its familiar continents and ocean basins, is merely a single frame in a slow-motion film. The forces that painstakingly assembled Pangaea over tens of millions of years never ceased. They merely changed their focus to dismantling it and arranging the pieces into the global map we recognize today. The evidence for this is not just fossilized in rock, it is ongoing. The relentless northward drift of Australia, the gradual widening of the Atlantic Ocean by a few centimeters each year, and the dramatic splitting of Africa along the East African Rift are all present-day chapters in the same story that began with Pangaea's rupture. We are living witnesses to the continuation of the supercontinent cycle. This cyclical view of Earth's history naturally leads to a compelling prediction for the future. Just as Rodinia was followed by Pangaea, scientists project that the current dispersal of continents will one day reverse. Based on the current trajectories of the tectonic plates, a new supercontinent, often referred to as Pangaea Ultima or Proxima, is predicted to form in roughly 250 to 400 million years. The most prevalent model suggests the Atlantic Ocean will begin to close, eventually driving the Americas back into collision with emerged Afro-Eurasia, creating a new continental mass that would once again surround a remnant of the ancient Tethys Ocean. This vision of the future reinforces the cyclical nature of our planet's geology. The dance of the continents is eternal. Thus, the saga of Pangaea's formation is the key to understanding not only our past, but also our present and our future. It explains the distribution of ancient fossils, the alignment of mountain ranges, and the location of the resources that built our civilizations. It teaches us that the world map is not a static image, but a temporary arrangement. The continents are, as they have always been, rafts on a viscous sea of mantle, forever drifting, colliding, and separating in a magnificent billion-year dance. The story of Pangea ultimately humbles us, revealing that human history is but a blink of an eye in the deep, slow, and majestic geological time that continues to shape the very stage upon which we live. Subscribe to the channel and like if you enjoy my content. This will motivate me to upload new videos faster.